All right. It is 11:58 p.m. on April 1st. This is Financial Literacy Month. And this month I want to go live on different financial literacy topics. Um, and the way I'll pick my topics is probably based on questions or something that come across my mind. Just want to share. So, welcome to Financial Literacy Month 2025. And today's topic is something that's near and dear to my heart. Um, in the last day or so, I actually spent some time with some young adults. This particular person was about 19 years old and found themselves in a position where they need to access health insurance because they're working, they're not on their parents' plan, and they needed to get a health insurance plan. Well, there were so many surprises for this young woman because she did not understand how health insurance works. And for most teenagers, um, later teens, 18, 19, young adults, 20, 21, college students, all they know is that they go to the doctor and their parents probably just present a card and they get taken care of. And they do not understand all of um, everything that goes along with health insurance, right? So I thought this would be a good topic to just talk about because it's on my mind and because after I spoke with her, the 19-year-old whom I helped to get insurance, um, so insurance could start today, spoke with two other young women that were both in college, but they were at a job working, and they said, I have no idea either. When I started talking to the young lady, the one that I helped, about premiums, about deductibles, co-insurance, about co-payments, she was like, what's all of this? I never heard of this. I don't understand what you're saying. And so I had to really slow down a little bit and talk about it. So I want you to tag a young person, a young adult, so that they can tune into this conversation. It doesn't matter if you're looking at it on the replay or if you're popped on live with me. Share this. Also, share it with a parent that's raising young adults so that they know that these are things that we should start talking to our children about. This is real life. It's underrated, but it's critical. Most teenagers and young adults get zero exposure to health insurance unless they're in a crisis or they're aging out of their parents' plan. And at this time, they don't know what is going on. So, turned it 18 or 19, um, they need this information, especially if they're job hunting, if they're going to college, or if they're losing coverage. This particular young lady lost coverage because the family had the coverage that's provided by the state, and so once you get to age 19, you kind of age out of that and have to figure out how to do it on your own, especially when you are working. Um, so this was seemed to me like a good place to start. All right. One thing I want you to know is that most children do qualify to stay on their parents' plan until age 26, and that is in the Affordable Care Act. You can stay on your parents' plan until you're 26, but even though they can, they still need to learn how all of this works. So this is a good time. So tag somebody who needs this information or send it to a parent who's raising our next generation of independent adults, right? All right. So, again, it's April's Financial Literacy Month, and I'm kicking things off with something we don't talk about enough, and that's health insurance for teens and young adults. All right. So I told you about the 19-year-old that I helped obtain health insurance for, but it made me realize that I need to break this down. And you know what they said? We don't judge. We listen, we don't judge, right? And so no judgment. Most adults don't even understand this. So this is a good place for people to start. So if you're a parent, tag your teen. If you're under 26, listen up because this is for you. So what is health insurance, right? Um, it's not just a card that you have in your wallet. It's what helps to cover medical bills, so that if you have to go to a doctor, a $500 bill does not wipe out your whole paycheck for the week, and that can happen. So some common terms. I don't know what's going on with my nose. Um, Pollen, so much pollen here in Georgia. Anyway, some common terms. Um, that you should be aware of. First one, premium, right? A premium is what you pay monthly or what your parents or sometimes even your job pays every month to have the insurance. This is like access to the insurance. That's what it is, right? This is um, being able to say that you have insurance. This is not using the insurance. So that premium is what you pay. Currently under the Affordable Care Act, um, Obamacare, uh, they are dependent on your income, the amount of money that you make. You may find premiums for as low as $0, because people qualify for the tax credit that the government provides in order for you to get that health insurance. So that's a premium, what you pay to access it, right? The deductible is the amount that you pay out of pocket before your insurance starts helping. So if you have a policy with a $5,000 deductible, and depending on how the rest of the policy written, you have to come out of pocket $5,000 before the insurance would really kick in. So it's also important why you should have someone to help you so that you know what type of insurance you have. If you have a $0 premium and a five or $10,000 deductible, that means you still have to come out of pocket for any help or assistance that you need when you go to the doctor before that five or $10,000 paid. That's what that deductible is. Now, some insurance might have a deductible, but it may have a copay, which means that's a set amount that you pay every time that you go into the doctor, or you have to fill out get a prescription or something like that. And if you have an insurance plan that has a deductible and it has a copayment, and that copayment is $5 or $10 or $50 or $30, whether or not the deductible is met, that's good because now you don't have to come out of pocket for that entire $5,000 of your deductible. You can pay that co-payment, that 10, 20, 30, $25, whenever you go to the doctor, um, and you're able to be seen, right? So now it doesn't feel like I can't even see. I have insurance or I have access to insurance, which is what the premiums do, but I can't see a doctor because my deductible hasn't been met. So you want to have a plan that allows you to pay a co-payment to see a doctor, whether or not the deductible has been met. And sometimes sometimes the co-payment might say it's 50% of the cost of the visit after the deductible has been met. That's important to know because if you have that, you would have had to pay that $5,000 out of pocket first, or $10,000 out of pocket. There are plans that have no deductibles. There are all sorts of different plans, but that's a different story, right? Because there are different tiers of health insurance. All right. If this sounds confusing, is because it was designed that way, but now you are learning, better, right? And this matters, right? I already mentioned that you can stay on your parents' plan until you're 26, but you need to know how it works. If you're going to college, um, if you're getting a job, the these are things that you want to look out for. These are things that you want to know, because what happens if you get sick or hurt and you don't have coverage? What happens then? These bills don't just disappear just because you are young. All right. So uh, that's a quick overview. Um, I will do something else later that goes a little bit more in depth. If you would like to know more about this topic, just DM me the word health or comment health, and I will get you back a free cheat sheet on all of this information. But just comment the word health to get something after the live that I can reach out and send to you. All right. So that's it tonight for Introduction to Financial Literacy Month, just understanding a little bit about health insurance, um, understanding that it's not free. You know, children grow up, they don't have to come out of pocket, they don't know how this all works. Even for adults, many times when they have to pay for insurance on their own outside of a job, just last night, also, I spoke with an adult, and the premiums for her were going to be uh, about $700 per month for a Cobra plan, because she was working, but now she was off due to illness, and the job does not pay insurance while you are sick. So she had to, this is for her particular job, so she had to go on Cobra, which is actually um, extends your insurance while the same insurance that you had, um, instead of the job paying it or paying part of it for you, you now have to pay for it. So it was going to be about $700 a month. And her, I went into another story, even though I said I was ending, but this is important because she wanted to see she could find another plan other than her Cobra plan, because that Cobra plan was going to cost her $700 a month. Normally she pays about 350 or so um, each month for her insurance. So I had to explain to her, when you're paying 350, that's not the total cost. The total cost is how much the employer pays plus what you pay. And now that you are off work, you have to pay the entire amount. That's why it's 700. That's what's the cost of your actual insurance premium per month. And she was like, but I saw where I can get it cheaper. I can get a plan that will only be about 300, just kind of like what I'm paying right now. And I said, that's all well and good. But if you get that plan, especially if you're getting a private insurance plan, you're not protected. They're not going to cover pre-existing conditions. They're not going to cover anything that you have going on right now, and you are in the middle of treatment. So getting a new plan for $300 is not going to help cover the past month that you bills that you've had, and it's not going to cover anything that you have right now because it's considered pre-existing. So you need to go with your Cobra plan, because that's going to seamlessly continue your medical treatment since you are currently undergoing treatment. And $700 may be a lot, but your life, you're dealing with some life, some health type of conditions that could change your life. So is that worth it? So go ahead and pay that $700 now so that your treatment can continue. I got a message from her today saying that she continued to pay it. She's going to continue to pay it because now she understands. Because she would go to that new insurance company, they will collect her premium, but they will not pay. Yeah, maybe something later on down the line, but nothing right now. So she understood that, and that was good. I'm glad that I could have helped in that situation. And that's what I do. Please reach out to me. Again, DM me the word health if you want to get a cheat sheet on some of the things we talked about here tonight. If you want to be able to share with your children, even when they're younger, even when they're 13, 14, 15, 16 years old, so that it's not a surprise when they are 19, depending on what circumstances change. And if they now have to get health insurance on their own, they're not surprised and they understand what is going on. Once again, I want to say thank you for joining me tonight, or thank you for listening on the replay, and share this live. Have a great night. Bye bye.